Go back 300,000 years, not to a storm, to a season that never stopped raining. You have no fur clothing, no blanket, no door to close, no fire that lights itself, no wall thick enough to keep the wet out for good. Your skin has not been fully dry in longer than you can remember. The ground has stopped being ground and started being mud that never firms up again. Thunder rolls across the dark in long, low waves, the way it does when it isn't announcing a storm anymore. It's just how the sky sounds now. And somewhere in that dark, you're shaking, and you can't stop. This is not a bad week. This is the world, for months at a time, for some of the very first people who ever looked something like you. Here's what that actually does to a body with nothing covering it. Wet skin loses heat fast enough to turn dangerous in conditions that wouldn't touch a clothed person. Now hold that for weeks, with no dry hour in between to recover in. Your fingers go numb first, then your feet. Sleep barely comes, because half the night gets spent just shivering enough to stay warm. Add hunger on top of that, because animals scatter and hide in weather like this, and every track washes out within hours of being made. Cold, wet, and starving, at the same time, for longer than any single decision could fix. That combination kills quietly, one bad night at a time. And it very nearly did, more than once, to the people who came before all of us. So the only question that matters is simple. What do you actually do, with nothing but your hands and whoever's standing next to you, to make it out the other side? It starts with fire. Fire is old. Humans had been controlling it for hundreds of thousands of years by this point, so it isn't a discovery anymore. It's inheritance, passed down long enough to feel like instinct. But keeping a fire alive through a season like this is a different problem entirely. The dry wood near camp runs out fast. After that, every fire gets built from wood someone found already soaked and dried by hand, piece by piece, close enough to the flame that it doesn't die while they work. Smoke stings your eyes the whole time. Your hides never really dry. They just steam a little near the heat and stay damp underneath. And if that fire goes out, there's no guarantee anyone in the group can start another one from nothing. So the fire becomes the center of everything, and everyone near it ends up keeping everyone else alive, whether they mean to or not. Fire pits from this era get reused again and again in the same spot, built up in layers. About as close as we get to proof that people stayed put through conditions bad enough that leaving simply wasn't an option. Around those fires, stone tools show up reworked far past what any single hunt would need, sharpened again, then again. That pattern tends to show up wherever people had nothing left to do but keep their hands busy. But keeping hands busy is only half of it, because a group that's done sharpening every blade it owns doesn't just sit in silence. It starts making things it doesn't need yet. Cord twisted from plant fiber, spare tools, spare everything. And somewhere in that stretch of nothing, the same hands that were built for survival start reaching for something closer to expression. That shift, from making what keeps you alive to making what means something, might be the real turning point of the whole season. Picture what a night like that sounds like from the inside. Rain against whatever's overhead. The hiss of damp wood catching. Other people breathing close enough to feel their warmth. Staying that close wasn't comfort. It was survival. And survival that depends on staying physically close to other people, night after night for months, tends to build something that outlasts the season that caused it. We don't have the words that were spoken around fires that old. But groups today, who still live close, fire-centered lives, tend to fill nights like that with memory, not logistics. Who taught you this? Where the water runs in a dry year, how the group made it through the last time it flooded like this. Repeated enough times, a story stops being an account of the past and starts being a plan for the future. So here's the part worth sitting with. 300,000 years ago, with nothing but fire, hands, and each other, people survived something that should have killed them. And they came out the other side with sharper tools, deeper knowledge, and a bond to the people beside them that comfort could never have built. That rain wasn't standing between early humans and their real lives. For months at a time, across who knows how many generations, it very nearly was their whole life. The thing that decided who kept a fire lit long enough to see the next dry season, and who didn't. Every tool you've ever picked up, every story anyone's ever told you by firelight, every instinct you have to move closer to the people you trust when things fall apart. All of it may trace back to nights exactly like that one. We're only here to ask the question because enough of them made it through the rain. And if a story like that is worth carrying forward, this channel exists to keep telling it. So if you want the next one, you already know what to do before you go. We're only here because enough of them made it through the rain. So if you want more ancient stories like this, subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one.